like I think it's like a
So I
couple of
tried to
seconds.
time it last time. I was totally off. I was like, I think there's a delay. I was checking. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I think there's a delay, and we're like live. Okay, yeah. 3, 2, 1, we're live.
It's like you were. I don't
No,
know
we've
either.
been live,
I'm gonna
dude.
learn that. Yeah, so it hadn't. I mean, because like it's got that delay built in. So what's up, everybody? Dude, from all the DMs that I got after posting that, just a couple of hours.
I knew this was going to be. This is a sensitive topic.
Well, both. I
On
call
both
it.
sides.
Okay, so clearly any fake, false allegations, anytime you say that, it's a trigger for
Yes.
a lot of friggin' people. And then on the UFC side, anytime you say anything pro Habib or pro Connor or negative both,
Right.
people get their little panties in a wad.
I'm going to be honest with you. I consider myself pretty in tune
Yeah.
with what's going on with the UFC and current events, and I had no idea. I didn't realize the amount of investment each side had in their fighter.
Yeah.
It's like today the comments on social media kind of shocked me a little bit. I was like, whoa, people are pretty upset about this one way or another. Everybody's got a very strong opinion, and I don't know. I didn't see that coming.
I was sitting there. So let's hit that UFC first.
Okay.
Because I got a bunch of,
Okay.
maybe calm everybody
Yeah,
down
yeah.
about the
Yeah.
false allegation things. Because
Yeah.
holy
We'll
shit.
have to hang on to get to that.
Ooh, yeah. This is a pretty quick one.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are doing but Connor didn't get suspended. But he talked about his family, but he talked about his religion, but he talked about his dad,
Right.
but all this but business. So jumping ahead, the Nevada State authorities, okay, I don't remember which
I
department.
think it's the athletic division, right?
No, this is the criminal investigation.
Oh, you're talking about okay.
They're strongly suggesting that they're looking at this as a premeditated assault
On Khabib's part?
on Khabib's part and his team. Because from looking at the footage and watching things and doing all these things before and his comments post-fight, after everything, and so you put all of that together, and they're saying that no matter what the outcome of this fight was, somebody was getting jumped. And they're trying to do what they can to get messages and text messages and things of that nature. And so I was
That's
like,
not good for
shit.
Khabib's camp.
No.
That's very bad for
And-
Khabib's camp.
I think that in Habib's defense, okay, they're Russian. He
Yeah.
knows English, but when you know English and you're not English, so to speak,
Yeah.
does that make sense? The way you use the words are very wrong. And the way things translate are very wrong from Russian to English and back and forth, and other languages as well.
Right.
And not any non-Romanized language in and out of that
Right.
language. It screws it up.
Right.
So I'm like, he's fucked.
I think it's bad. I was blown away. First of
Yeah.
all, what a great card. Let's just acknowledge
That whole thing.
What
The
a
prelims
great-
were good. The
What a
whole
great
thing-
card. Yeah, I only caught a couple of the prelim fights, but 2 I saw were like really good.
Yeah.
What a great card. And I mean, you could talk about the whole
And
card.
I almost put my shorts over my shoulder.
First of all, greatest post-fight interview ever. Derek Lewis, thank you for representing Houston.
That was the best.
That was amazing.
The best. I was crying watching that thing,
Dude,
laughing so hard.
the funny part was I didn't realize he took his pants off. And we were watching the fight, and then I can't remember who said it. They're like, "Look at Bruce Buffer's face," and Bruce Buffer was looking at Derek Lewis like he had this repulsed look on his face, and they're like, "Oh, his pants are off." I said, "His pants are off," and I realized he just had his drawers on.
Yeah.
And then Joe had to ask, why are your shorts off? My balls are hot. And I was like, God, that might be that's going to be one of the, I told my partner today, I said, you know what? I think that's just going to be my answer to everything from now on.
'Cause my
Everybody
balls are
asks
hot.
me a question, I know. I said, because my balls are hot. It's my new answer. It was so great.
The whole. It wasn't just. It just started out that
It was
way.
a great
the
card. It was a
whole
great card.
interview.
The Pettis Ferguson
Oh,
fight.
that
How
was- yeah.
amazing! So
Yeah.
bummed that guy. I think Duke Rufus threw in the towel on Anthony Pettis with his hand
Yeah,
being
'cause
broke.
it was broke. Yeah.
And but yeah, so I mean, without getting all into the fight and whatever, but what Khabib did. So there's a problem. There's a major. I said immediately. I actually was shocked. They announced him the winner in the cage. I kind of thought that they were going to be like, we're not announcing shit.
Yeah.
Let's just get everybody out of here. Like
I think that's a requirement.
Safety, maybe that would explain it. Because I was like, because I know Dana was like, hey, safety wise, we need to get everybody out here. And honestly, thank God DC and Luke Rockhold were there to kind of talk some sense into Khabib. Because Khabib didn't get it. Khabib literally didn't get it. Like, he didn't understand why he's not getting the belt thrown on his waist. He's not getting called the winner of the fight, doing this whole thing. It's like, Khabib, you can't do that. Like, you went too far.
Yeah.
Like, you nearly incited a riot in a closed-in space with who knows how many people were there. Like, you don't understand. Like, you could lose everything. If a bunch of people got hurt, they would sue you.
He still might lose everything.
Yeah.
Because his prize money is still withheld.
Yeah, the commission's holding his purse. Are they holding Connor's?
Nope.
I didn't hear. So they released Connor's.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised. I thought they might hold it till they do a full investigation of everything that occurred.
So this is what I read, okay? I'm going to paraphrase all of this, okay? Because I didn't want to pull quotes and read and all that kind of bullshit. Right. So the one of the representatives from the Nevada State Athletic Commission said that they reviewed the video, and one of the reasons why they had released, either were going to release or had released Connor's money, was because Connor was attacked in the ring. Connor didn't instigate it. So he was getting checked. He was in there. And there were two people that actually had physical altercations from Khabib's team in the ring, and a third that had tried, but security got him and pulled him off to the side. What was going on? And they said, yes, Connor swung at and struck each one of those, but in retaliation, like, it was clearly defense. Like, he wasn't aggressing.
They jumped him from behind. One of the guys started hitting
him from behind, yeah.
And I was like, what a bitch ass move.
Yeah.
Especially a guy who's been fighting for 20 plus minutes, is exhausted. Like, what a bitch ass move. But there was a little clip I saw of Connor swinging at somebody from on top of the fence.
Oh, maybe they didn't show that part.
Yeah, I saw that today. And that's why I was kind of wondering, like, if they'll do a full investigation.
Yeah.
I don't know if that happened before. Now, Khabib initiated everything. Like, he's the one that leapt out of the ring and did the flying eagle stomp towards Dylan Dennis. And then that's what initiated everything, right? Yeah. So I think Khabib's fucked. My guess at the time, and I may be wrong, I may have been understating it, is I thought 1 year suspension. I thought the commission would come down 1 year suspension, which forced him to vacate the title, which would be a great scenario for UFC, because then they would have Ferguson and Conor probably fight for the interim.
Yeah.
Speaking of Ferguson, I heard some retarded ass comments from him today, but yeah, you heard those. Yeah. So Ferguson and Conor would fight, and I would favor Conor in that fight.
Yeah.
And then it would set up a Conor versus Khabib rematch for the belt
when
again.
He came back.
So I mean, that would be best case scenario for everybody involved, honestly, money wise and professionally. But man, the way Dana White was talking, and what you just said, he may be done. Like, he may not be allowed to fight in the U.S. anymore. They may come after him that strong.
I don't know if they'll go that strong. My guess is the commission will give him. This is based on other things, all the Pacer stuff and the big melee at the Palace and all. You know, you do all of those things in the past, and what the Nevada State Athletic Commission has done in regards to PED use, suspected PED use, and all those suspensions. You put him in. I think he's getting a 2 year. 2
years, almost a lifetime. But I would say the reason I said. Not just I didn't mean done like with the commission.
Yeah,
I didn't mean they were going to ban him.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is if I don't know who has jurisdictional authority inside the casinos, because the way Vegas is set up, it's a little different. I don't know if it's different. Metro that does investigations or someone else, but let's just say that they are looking at it as a premeditated, maybe an organized criminal act.
Yeah,
if they get charged. His visa's forever gone.
Yeah.
Like, his visa's gone. So he'll never be allowed back in the U.S. again.
Right. That's likely
that's what I
be the
meant,
outcome.
like, by that. So, and his father came out with some pretty harsh words for Khabib.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that today.
I had read some blurbs on it. I didn't see.
Yeah, his
I don't know
father
if there's
came
a
out
video.
saying, it doesn't matter what the UFC does. My punishment will be much more severe. It's like, we don't do that. Like,
Right.
that's, you keep it in the ring. And so, look, Khabib fucked up. And the problem, and another thing that's not helping him is all his comments post-fight were justifying his behavior.
Yeah.
He didn't acknowledge, like, hey,
That might have been
fucked up.
wrong. Yeah.
You know, call Dylan Dennis out for a fight.
Yeah.
Set up a fight someplace. Do something. But you can't risk, because here's the thing. He risked, like, everybody's safety in that arena. And I've heard a lot of people say, yeah, well, kind of like you said, he was talking about his religion, his family, his best friends, his dog, his goat.
Everything. His goat, his parent, everything.
Just a joke. Just a joke.
His eye patch, all of it.
But
It's
you know,
all,
they're saying all those. So, you know, of course, no. Like, that was the wrong way. Like, he risked. Yeah, Conor fucked up too. All right, but here's the difference. What Conor did was wrong. Didn't happen in the ring.
Right.
He wasn't fighting. It was outside of a UFC thing. It was kind of a little bit of a different situation.
Yeah.
So there's the athletic commission doesn't really have any say over what happened.
None
with
at
him.
all.
No one filed charges on him.
Right.
So the UFC could have done something. I don't know if the UFC fined him or what they did with Conor.
Yeah, he got fined
So he paid
a decent amount of
so
money.
he got fined. He got fined a chunk of change.
And he paid out.
And he's going to have to pay out
yeah.
on some civil suits because I know that's coming. So he got his punishment for his idiotic behavior. But this is different. Like that, I don't think people they don't think of it in the full context
Right.
of safety. Like, I guess as I've worked events like that. I've worked major events. You know, worked all-star games, basketball games, football games. Your main concern is if everything breaks down because you're way outnumbered. There's
Bad.
thousands and thousands of people. And I'm not sure how many were at that fight, but I'm venturing tens of thousands of people at that fight.
I'm going to guess like close to 20,000.
So it's a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
And it's small. And it looks big on TV. It's not. Everything's really
it's not
small.
big.
It's a small, compact space. And so as a police officer or someone working security, there's only maybe I think they said they had the most security at that event that they've ever had.
Yeah.
So what are you talking, 100 officers working for 20,000 people? If that 20,000 people get out of hand, and you got to realize it's not just people swinging, you got crazy Irishmen and crazy Russians swinging at each other, but now you got people trying to get out. You got children in there.
Yeah.
There's children at UFC events.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Women. People trying to leave, getting stomped on. Like, this has happened in events.
Millions of dollars in equipment.
Yeah. So it's people. It's very fortunate it got handled as well as it did.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, it's very fortunate.
I think the saving grace and all of that we were talking about is that both sides, both corners, both teams, like you do it, they're all professional fighters. So you didn't get kind of that crazy stumbling kind of fighting that you would get if they weren't. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So nobody was stumbling into the crowd. Nobody was this. Everything was calculated.
Yeah.
And there were, he was jumping off to land on one person, nobody else. And he has balance and he landed on his feet and he's striking at one person. And I saw jabs. I saw like a jab hook from one guy to another corner. I mean, it was just, it's a different situation. I think.
It is, but the problem, that's not, it's if it spreads into the crowd. Because that's where you're worried about it. You're not worried about those 4 or 5. I mean, you're worried about them, but that's not the issue. The issue is that's spreading. Because you got people who've been drinking, or intoxicated.
Oh, man.
You're in Vegas. Your thought process, people aren't thinking straight.
No.
And you've been sitting next to some guy who's cheering for the other guy this whole fight, and maybe your guy won or their guy lost. We're talking a lot of smack the whole time, and now you're going at it.
Ooh.
That guy's best friend's jumping in. This guy's best friend's jumping in. Someone's trying to break it up. You know what I mean? Like, you know how those things they can just devolve so fast.
It's bad. I read one attorney that practices in Nevada was talking about the liabilities across the board.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
So they were like, Dana specifically as an individual is potentially liable because he directly schedules some of the security and all this kind of stuff. The UFC is liable, right, for a multitude of things, and then one of those things being the inability to secure post-fight deal, knowing how volatile it was, knowing all these things, that there wasn't a plan in place to keep them separated and do all that stuff. Even they had 5 times the security.
Yeah, I know. It was like, if you notice when they did when they gloved up.
Yeah.
And there was like four guys on each side or something. And I think my girlfriend was like, wow, there's a lot of guys in red coats in there. It's like, for this fight. And Ronnie brought up a point. He was like, Brendan Schaub was talking on his podcast, like, I'm not going to that fight.
Yeah.
It's like, there's something bad's going to happen. Like, there's too much bad blood.
People knew it.
Crazy Irishmen, crazy Russians. Yeah. Something bad's going to happen.
And then it happened.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. It was crazy. We're going to see. Like I said, I was looking today as much as I could, trying to find new information, but I guess everything's going to hinge. The first shoe to drop will be the athletic commission.
Yeah.
And then the criminal investigation will take time. Like, if there's going to be a criminal investigation, if charges are going to be filed, that's going to take, it's going to be a couple weeks for you here.
So I think a good move that Conor didn't press charges.
Yeah, it would have been
that was a good move.
Because no one, I don't remember anybody. Did they file charges on him when he did the bus thing and then they drop it?
Yes,
he did show up in court.
I think it was 13 counts, and then he pled guilty to some lower level misdemeanor.
So they did like a plea. That's what it was. I was trying to remember because I remember him showing up in court.
Yeah, he pleaded, and then he paid a huge chunk of money out.
It was a good move on his part to drop the charges. Just say, hey, let's just drop this. Like, I'm not hurt. It's well, I mean, his soul's a little hurt from getting.
Well, yeah, but he's not. Yeah,
but like the guys didn't hurt him.
Yeah, he wasn't damaged from the post fight.
I don't think so. It didn't, from what I saw.
He didn't claim to, and I watched one. He had a little. I forget what he calls it, but his little live thing that he does on Instagram. Mm-hmm. So he had that going. He was just eating breakfast and just kind of BSing and talking. He was fine.
I never watched that. I didn't realize he did that.
I didn't know until today.
I gotta start watching that.
It like popped up in the little feed, and it's not Notorious Live or it's something. I'll pull it up again.
Oh, I gotta start.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny and whatever. But anyway, he's fine, and I think from a fight perspective, Khabib did everything he was supposed to do.
Oh, fight-wise, he
did everything. And everybody's like, "Oh, he got him in the stand-up go." I'm like, "It's fucking MMA. That shit happens."
You know what? This is what I think. Conor pulled an Anderson Silva and went in there and did not take him seriously. That was not Conor. When you're watching Conor, he walked right up to him with his hands down, and I'm like, the whole fight, and I'm like, okay, no, he's not a great striker, but what you're doing right now, you're not Muhammad Ali, brother.
No.
Like, what are you doing?
No.
And he's going to take you down. Like, you're not even preparing for the takedown. It's almost like you wanted him to take you down. He did no defense, and he was stalled it for a little while. And then the third round, I think Khabib might have been a little bit tired and was having a hard time hitting the takedown.
Yeah.
But then fourth round, he came back and got it. I don't think he fought that fight. He didn't. He didn't fight that fight correctly.
Absolutely not.
No, I don't think he didn't fight that fight like he was a young fighter, fighting for a championship. You know what I'm saying? Like he was not in there totally focused on winning the fight.
Yeah,
it was way too much arrogance in that ring, and he got what he had coming to him with all that arrogance. Is what I think. I think if there's a second fight, I think it's going to be very different. And I don't.
It will be different. Yes, I don't know if the outcome will be different.
I think it will be. I think if you look at what happened with Diaz.
Yeah, that's true too.
I think that's a perfect example. It's the same result.
Yeah.
He didn't take Diaz, although I think he took Diaz a little more seriously than he took Khabib. But that second time he came through there, he was prepared for Diaz. Like, he was ready, and it was a close fight. But I still think he won that fight.
Yeah.
I think a rematch with Khabib, if we get fortunate enough to see that, I think the result will be different.
It very likely could be, but this one could have been different too. It's one punch is the difference in these fights.
Yeah.
You know,
I think that third round could be. When that third round kicked off and Khabib couldn't get him to the ground, I thought about the Al Iaquinta fight.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, Khabib's fucked because Conor's not Al Iaquinta.
Right.
All he's got one touch kill power.
Yeah.
And if he lands you with that straight left, that's all he has to do one time. And he's got 3 rounds to land that. If you can't take him down, he's going to land it. Like, he's going to catch his breath here in the next round or two, and he's going to land it. But then, that didn't happen.
He's got him. He just didn't know. Conor didn't know what to do. He didn't know what to do. And
I'm wondering how prepared. Like, I'm just wondering what his fight. I'm curious what his fight camp was. How seriously he took it. I just don't feel like he took Khabib seriously. I think he saw the Al Iaquinta fight and thought, this guy, I'm fucking knock this guy out of my sleep.
Yeah,
I really think
that's very
like
likely.
that.
I think that's very likely.
He did not take his wrestling seriously. This man is wrestling. He was wrestling with bears at 5 years old. That was his training. He's wrestling DC and Luke Rockhold every fucking day.
Yeah.
DC,
I know,
who's a man bear.
That's why he just didn't. He made some stupid mistakes. And my thing was this: was that I'll say this even beforehand. Going into it, I was like, if he catches him with the left, Habib's gone.
I thought he was going to catch him. I thought he was.
But if he doesn't, then Connor's done.
I thought he would catch him. I legitimately thought he's going to catch him with a shot.
Yeah.
I thought he would, because Connor's timing and power is phenomenal. He didn't take it seriously. He walked in there acting Anderson Silva like.
Yeah.
At the end, and I thought, ooh, this doesn't look good.
No. I
did not like the way it looked.
And it was pennies. You know what their purse was?
I don't even know.
Connor $3 million and Habib was $2 million.
Was.
That's what it was. He didn't get anything now.
To Khabib, that's not pennies, I bet.
Well, no, I'm just saying in the sense
to Connor, it's pennies.
You're coming off $112 million in your pocket fight.
Yeah, maybe that's why he didn't take it seriously. And you got to wonder once you get that change, because he was a hungry fighter all the way through. Like if you see his story, poor. He was relatively poor. I wouldn't say poor, just lower middle class guy. Loves fighting, is trying to make it, catches a break, and boom, explodes. Yeah. And but he had something to fight for. He's fighting for money. He's fighting for food. He's fighting to have a life. Because honestly, a lot of these fighters, especially someone like, say, Connor, if they don't have fighting, they don't have much else.
Right.
And they're just not geared that way. And, so Connor's fighting for his whole life.
Yeah.
And he's got it. He's earned it.
Yeah. I mean, he earned it.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. And he's not done.
But he doesn't have that anymore.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, you wonder what that does to a fighter.
That was one of the things I said to Steph before the fight before it started. Like right before it started, I'm like, I wonder if his pants got too big for him.
Oh, they did.
It looked like it. It really looked like it. And I was a little bit like right when it started, and Habib was trying to get him down, and they were kind of circling, and he couldn't get him. I was like, all right, maybe he's all right. But now that was just a matter of a half inch, an inch or something. Yeah,
we'll see what happens. I'll be bummed if Khabib's done though. I will be bummed.
So what we know, Dana said he's taking the belt.
Yeah,
okay.
So because they already know,
right?
Commissions. I'm sure Dana probably already knows what the commission's thinking.
Yeah,
I'm sure they're.
So effectively, then there's no champ. So you got to set up the championship fight.
Well, Tony's talking shit about Conor now. So
yeah, he was.
Says he has fear in his eye. Get the fuck out of here! Like, I like Tony Ferguson. I mean, I like his fighting style. It's exciting. It's fun. It's
freaking crazy.
Man, I'm telling you, dude. Conor's gonna knock you out if Conor takes that seriously, which I think he will.
I think he will now.
Yeah,
he got a little embarrassed. I think Conor got embarrassed, so now he's back on that pride thing, and so now
there's gonna be something in his belly to make him burn. I think he's gonna knock Tony Ferguson.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't think Tony wants. I don't think he. Yeah,
that's a different.
He was manufacturing it. I saw that shit talking. It was being manufactured. Yeah. Like he was trying to shit talk and he fucked it up. Number one, he didn't say it right, and it was clearly like he had thought about it ahead of time and he wanted to say it and like look like a big man because he wants that fight with Conor because it's a money fight. That would be an uptick in money fight for him. For him, that'd be a big upgrade as far as purse goes.
Shit.
But man, like I said, he was great out of fights. Just so much. There was a lot of good stuff there.
Yeah.
I'm still in shock. Like I was speechless. I'm still speechless about it.
But it was the whole thing, and that was just the whole thing. But now you got to remember, Nevada can kick him out for 50 years, right? They could give him a lifetime ban. There's several other states in the U.S. you could do it. I mean, like, oh, well, what if he doesn't have his visa? They've done international fights all over the fucking place. But do you see what I'm saying? So I mean, you can get around that.
Oh.
You can get around that easily.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think they want a 155-pound champ who's banned from fighting in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that.
That's a problem for selling fight. The money fights from Vegas. You know?
Oh yeah.
And that would he would be fucked. They would strip him.
Okay, so your guess. What happens to him?
I'm going to stick with what I originally said. I think it's a 1 year. I think the commission gives him a 1 year suspension, and like I said, they're going to set up Tony Conor for the interim, and then when Khabib gets off suspension, they'll set up a fight for him to fight. I think would be Conor again for a rematch, and it'll be an exciting fight. And we'll see what Conor does. I think it'll be a different fight. I really believe that.
I agree with that. I think what's the limit? 18 months
on
if your title's stripped.
I don't
if
know
you didn't strip it, it's something around there. So I don't know, man. I feel like I'm gonna say this. I think he gets a 2 year suspension. His title's stripped, and and it's just a mess. Somebody else picks him up. Bellator picks him up. Somebody else picks him up to fight internationally.
Well, Bellator's got a lot of good fighters.
Yeah, that's kind of my guess, is that he's effectively gone from the UFC, at least during the period of time of his suspension.
Yeah.
And then once that's over, he'd come back. But
maybe something like that.
That's my guess, man. And that's, I mean,
could be in limbo. Could be fighting bears. In the
exactly.
Russian circus.
And then fight card wise, I think they're going to do Ferguson and Conor.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And then I think after that, because I believe Conor will knock Ferguson out.
I do too.
I think you're looking at possibly a GSP Conor fight.
Nobody I would say right now, nobody, and when I say nobody, I mean Khabib included. Nobody wants a piece of GSP.
No.
GSP will run through all these fools. I'm telling you right now, I'm watching these guys like, there's no. GSP right now will run through everyone in that, I'll say it, 185, 170, the soon-to-be 165 division,
Yeah.
the 155 division he says he can make, he'll run through he could hold 4 belts.
I think he could too.
I have no question in my mind. If he wanted to do that, he could do that.
So good and so efficient and so precise and fuck, get out of here.
I miss him. I
know.
really miss him. The UFC needs him because right now there's a little bit too much
bullshit.
Too much wannabe Conors going on. I remember watching. We were watching, and I kept hearing these guys call. I think Karate Hottie was calling out for a fight for the title, and I'm like,
please.
And then the next fighter, I want to fight for the title. Then the next, I'm like, guys, since when? Stop it! Stop trying to call for the title.
Yeah.
Just stop. Like
Nobody
used to do that. If somebody did that, it was a kind of a big deal, and it was usually somebody that was like number 2 or number 3.
Yeah, that they're right there.
Yeah. None of these freaking 9th ranked fighter. What do I got to do? I've got 2 in a row. I mean, stop it. It's becoming a little too circus like, and with GSP and those guys, that didn't exist.
No,
like those,
they didn't do
I mean, there was some circus stuff, but not like now. I don't remember.
It was never like this.
Like.
It was never like this. Never.
All started with Brock Lesnar.
Yep.
They started getting a little too WWE-ish.
No shit.
Yeah.
You mean he get a year ban? He got a year ban.
Lesnar for
his
PED use?
No, for his after the fight antics of that. I'm trying to remember the whole.
Which one?
Because I read it and I know he got in a disciplinary action from Nevada, is it was 1 or 2 year ban, and it wasn't anything like this. I think that was all his language and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Was that the same one where he had he was drinking? Was he drinking Budweiser? Not drinking Budweiser. He was drinking like Coors Light or something.
Something like that.
Budweiser was the sponsor, and he was like, Coors Light's my sponsor, and they won't even let me. And he's chugging a Coors Light, or saying, "I want to go home and chug a Coors Light."
Yeah, that he got like a year or 2 ban for
did
that.
Did he really? I
so
thought
I'm
it was
like,
for like the PEDs.
No. Khabib. That's why I'm like, Khabib is.
Well, I don't think they're gonna. The more I saw Dana, I watched like a little clip from Dana White today again from the post presser, and you can see it on his face. He's like, this is the one that really sucks for Khabib and he said this. He goes, the governor was there. The governor was running for the exits. That is not good.
Dude.
He's 100% right. The governor was running for the exits.
What? How do you come up with that?
Like your timing of fucking up like that couldn't have been worse.
You're in that situation. He's toast. He's toast.
I forgot about the governor thing.
Yeah,
that really you could. It's probably more like 2 years at least. I think you're right when I think about that part, because the governor's making a phone call.
Yeah, that's when you. Yeah, that's why I have that hesitation. I'm like, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, governor's gonna call somebody. He's fucked.
Yeah.
He's fucked.
Yeah.
Visa's gone. He's done.
Maybe.
And even if he doesn't get too long of a ban, he's not gonna come back here to fight anyway.
Man, it could be. He doesn't even know what he did.
No. Like he thinks it was okay.
He does. He doesn't think there was anything wrong with it, which is a problem.
But he talked about. Did you watch the Mayweather stuff? They were making fun of each other's wives and kids and families and heritage and countries.
And I hear all these guys and people I have a lot of respect for, and they're like, well, it's a different culture. You got to realize that, and this, that, and the other. And it's like, do you?
It's America, man.
Do you? I mean, you're in a fight game in America, and You know, like at some point, I don't care what your culture states. You got to recognize, hey, you're fighting for millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And even without that, you can't put everybody's life in jeopardy.
And I know a good number of Muslims.
Right.
Okay. So they may get pissed off at this, but the truth be told, if you really are standing by your religious values and morals and ethics, you're not going to be a fighter, and you're definitely not going to fight somewhere that over 60% of your, maybe 70% of your money comes from alcohol.
Alcohol sales. In the city of sin.
So, right. In the city, what really are your morals and ethics? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, really, when you break it down?
That comes to the overall topic of, you know, where religiosity and what is the level that you'll stand by your morals. And
right.
It's a whole nother topic.
I'm like, come on.
You know, your heroes fighting in the UFC, well, you kind of forget about
yeah.
some of those other issues. If you're getting money from the UFC to fight, you kind of forget about, you know, it's not direct, you don't directly see it, so this doesn't count.
So I will throw this out there, and I will say that probably one of the top fights that I personally want to see for my own is I want to see Diaz and Khabib fight.
I personally think Khabib would kill Diaz.
I don't know, man.
This is the reason I say it is because I've never seen Diaz really worry about stuff and takedowns or anything too much. I mean, yeah, but his jiu-jitsu is so good he doesn't care about it, and he's boxing so good he doesn't care about it that much. You know what I mean? He just makes his...
I think that would be... Now, if you just go paper to paper, Khabib should destroy him.
I think Khabib would throw... I think he would ragdoll Diaz.
But that's supposed to have happened to Diaz so many times.
It hasn't happened. No, it happened against...
It has.
Was it Gray Maynard, maybe? I can't remember who he fought, but he got ragdolled something fierce.
It was Maynard.
I think it was Gray Maynard.
But wasn't that the fight that he was on like boatloads of dope?
I don't know, but I just remember which fight.
I was like, which fight?
Done a lot of fights.
Maybe that was the fight he was clean.
Fuck. Maybe he should have been smoking for that fight.
Yeah, he was clean.
He got ragdolled real bad one fight, and I think Khabib would ragdoll him. I think the way he did Barbosa, you know, and just he just ragdolls guys, man. Like he's an unusual animal. He's a special. Very special kind of guy.
Unfortunately for him and everybody, I don't think we're going to see it.
You might be right. Oof. Well,
poor guy.
I almost don't feel sorry for him. I just, you know.
I don't either, really. I'm just saying, poor guy in the sense of you had all this talent and done.
I just don't know what he was thinking. I still can't. I just don't know. You know, someone else was talking about, I know we want to jump off this, but the Conor McGregor, the choke.
Yeah.
And Conor McGregor gave up that choke. He quit in that fight.
I think so. Well, short answer is yes. I don't think that was tap worthy, but I think he was in a position he knew that there was no way he was getting out of.
I think it was tap worthy. I've looked at it a little bit, and the reason I think it was tap worthy because he was kind of crushing his face in with that, and it was like a face crush, which is I'm sure if and he was doing it properly. And with Khabib doing it, that's a lot of power.
You separate your jaw, you can screw yourself up.
Easy. And so I think it was legit, but I think he gave up the choke. He didn't. He stopped defending.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
He postured up and did this, which if you train, you know that's like one of the worst things you could do because immediately someone's going to wrap their arm around your neck as soon as you do that. He did that and he didn't even really defend it. And I was like, I was watching like, why are you giving up? He wanted out. I think he wanted out of that fight. Like he was ready to be out of that fight. And I was pretty disappointed. I was pretty disappointed in that.
It comes a point in time as a professional fighter, if you realize I am not ready for this.
But this is the point I was going to make. Because I was talking with someone in the gym this morning about it while I was trying to work out.
Yeah.
But anyway, they wanted to talk about it, and so I said, the truth is, if he really wanted to punish him, should have choked him out there. You should have just held on to him and just kept beating him in the face.
Right.
You could have done it for 2 more rounds. Make him tap to strikes if you really want to embarrass him. You didn't have to finish him at that point. Like, he was physically toast. You could see it in Conor's face. He was physically done. If he's giving you the choke, don't take it. Keep beating him. You didn't have to take the choke. That's what he could have done. He could have got all that out of his system in the next 2 rounds.
And I know he jumped over and all that kind of stuff because that's a big adrenaline spike because it was over and he won. Prior to that, he was tired. He was tired. He was fight tired. He was fight tired. And some people are like, no,
I think he was.
He jumped out. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. Adrenaline. The second you win and it's over, you get such a massive spike of adrenaline. You don't. There is no explanation or no way to describe that unless you live it. You can't.
Yeah, no, that was pure adrenaline.
Yeah.
And a lot of other guys try to point that out, like, he was on an adrenaline high when that happened. It still doesn't matter. I mean, you still should have enough sense. But I mean, lots of guys have gotten into.
I mean, I just sit there and I got into this big Twitter war with one of these jackasses. Think of this.
You and Twitter.
Fucking asshole. But think of this. Chokes him, stands up, walks over to him, and sticks his freaking hand out to help Conor out.
No, that was never.
Conor wouldn't have taken it. Maybe not. I don't think he would have taken it.
Conor is. You know what? You could say a lot of things about Conor. Yeah. He's the couple times you've seen him lose, been very gracious in defeat.
Yeah.
He's never been sour. He's always gives credit.
Yeah.
Where credit's due. Says I'll be back, and is humble about it. Like I've respected that about Conor. People got to realize all that shit talking is showmanship.
It's promotion. It's
selling his fight. It's selling this fight, and it's a little bit of his character. But it's selling. It's selling. Now, if he kept doing it like immediately after the fight and was rude and was sour grapes and poor sportsman after losing, then I say, okay, no, he's just a shitty person, right?
I don't think he's ever done that.
I've never seen him do that. Yeah. I mean, he's only lost a couple times, but the couple times he's lost, it's been very gracious. It's been very gracious. We lost to Diaz. Yeah. Very gracious. I mean, Mayweather, very gracious.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I've never. He was gracious to Khabib. Like he didn't say anything. He didn't say anything that was. He just said. It's a good. I can't remember. He used his Irish slang, but basically said that was a good one. Says I'll see you on the rematch. You know.
Yeah.
What you gonna say? I have no problem. I think people need to kind of look at that and realize what Conor's doing. It's made him a lot of money. It's made him a lot of money. It's made the people he fights a lot of money. It's made the UFC a lot of money. It's made a lot of people in that area a lot of money, just by the way he promotes himself. So, just
got him boatloads of. You got to respect that, man.
I do. I'm a Conor fan. And I know I usually don't like fighters that are overly flashy, but I just like Conor. I've liked him since the day first.
I think the one last thing, and we'll jump on. I think nobody knows what these contracts are because they're private. Okay, they're not public contracts because every fighter is a subcontractor because it's not unionized. Right. Nobody knows what those contracts say except for the lawyers and the people who signed them. Okay, so nobody's leaking any of that, and they typically don't leak it out.
Right. There should be NDAs associated with that.
Right. Exactly. Because you don't want other fighters. Yeah. For people that don't know.
I get it. I find myself in a habit of doing that sometimes. I've noticed that when we're doing the podcasting, is I'll say something and I'll realize, I should probably explain that.
People don't know.
Yeah, because you're just talking because the person you're talking to understands.
Yeah.
But then you're like, oh, I should probably say what that is before. Because I see your shit and I'm like, what the fuck are they talking about?
So non-disclosure, meaning you can't talk about it.
Right.
Or there's implications.
It's very common.
Yeah, super common. And but everybody is speculating that there was already a rematch clause in it for both parties.
I 100% believe that.
So no matter what happens, no matter who won and how and all these other kinds of things, the rematch was already going to occur.
Well, and Conor's kind of talking like that too, right? He immediately was like, "See you on the rematch."
Yeah,
like it's a done deal.
And all of his talk about we're ready for all outcomes, we're ready for any scenario, we're ready for all the.
If?
And I'm like,
and that one little statement he said, it's so easy to get caught up on this.
I do.
He said, "You won the battle, but you won the war, but we won. You won the battle, but we won the war." And I'm like, what did that mean? Like I've been thinking about that statement since I read it. I was like, what does he mean by that? You know what I'm saying? Like, what did he mean? And it just got me thinking.
He's too calculated, not
very calculated, and I almost feel like, because I think Conor, I don't know, I hate to put this on a fighter. He would lose that fight just to set up a huge rematch.
Of course he would.
Just for the love of winning the next fight.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because there wouldn't be a third.
No. Of course there would be.
Well, not right away. Like Khabib would have to take a couple steps back before he could come back. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna say there would never be a third.
No. I didn't mean never, but I mean
not immediately.
The third rematch, the next rematch would be down. It would have to. Khabib would have to work his way back up.
Yeah.
And I do not put that past Conor. I don't know, man. The guy, he's made a lot of money being really smart.
He's fun. I don't care what you do. He's fun.
Yeah.
He's fun.
I'm still a fan.
He's fun. He's entertaining. I know what fucking Proper 12 is.
What's Proper 12?
That's his whiskey, man.
Oh, his whiskey.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
That was so fun.
I actually want to go get some and try it. I'm curious.
Can
I'm a
you-
whiskey
can you
guy.
I don't even
I don't know.
what the fuck whiskey is.
I'm a whiskey man, so I want to. Well, I got to fight in 2 weeks, so I can't drink right now.
Well,
but
it's proper 12. So,
as soon as if I can get some proper 12, I'll
what
drink
the fuck
some
proper-
immediately. I'll drink some immediately after the fight.
oh, like what the hell is this?
So-
Kid? Okay, so we got to switch
Yes, serious stuff now.
the fun stuff. Well, the fun poke the
Well,
bear kind of shit.
I thought we just had fun.
That was fun, but
Now
this
we're gonna
is-
get serious
holy
stuff. This is the one where
God.
we're gonna get some. We're gonna get some blowback.
Hate.
But it's okay.
I'm gonna start
It's a
with data.
conversation that needs to be talked
Yeah,
about.
I'm gonna start with data.
Okay.
Okay, so I shared a little bit of this with you earlier.
Mhm.
All right, and all of this was some of it was into 2017, some of it was into 2018. So as relevant as you can get with any good statistical data.
Right.
And it was all, I looked at left sources, right sources, center sources, undisclosed sources, and universally everybody's pretty much saying the same thing. On an occasion, you'll get a couple outliers. The outliers, I trash those because clearly they're motivated by some other deal, right?
Right.
So data, false accusations, false allegations, false claims. And when we say false claims, it doesn't mean blatant lie. So I have to lay the groundwork first. False claims, false allegations, false accusations mean could be a lie, could be unsubstantiated, could be have no corroboration whatsoever, could be all of those things, right? So it doesn't mean something didn't happen and you said it did. It could mean something happened and there's just no fucking way anywhere ever other than you saying it happened to prove it. Nobody knows. You didn't go to anybody. There's no corroborating evidence. There's no unsubstantiated at every level, right? That falls into the category of false in all of their all of the stats and data and everything that's out there. So domestic violence, we'll start there. Domestic violence, we'll just say right at 50% are considered false allegations. Over 75% of all temporary restraining orders due to domestic violence are considered to be absolutely false, and there's no charges, no reports, nothing other than a temporary restraining order.
Easily.
So right at basically it was just south of 80%.
Yeah.
Nationwide.
I'm 100%. It takes nothing. And of course, state by state, there's different terms. So, a restraining order here in Texas is different than another state.
Yes.
If what people consider restraining order, we would call it protective order.
Yeah.
In other words, you can't come within so many feet, or you'll be arrested.
Right.
Restraining order is civil. If you come within so many feet, there can be civil penalties.
Yes.
For you if you caught. But I agree with you because honestly, you don't have to have charges filed to have either one of those things
Exactly.
done, and so anybody can get it done, and people will do it out of spite. I've seen both sides do it out of spite. I want a restraining order, and it's not that they need one.
Nope.
It's just spite.
And in the state of Texas, in family law, when you file your original paperwork,
Usually the option.
a TRO is already in it.
Yeah,
It's just in it.
I know because my second divorce, they put a temporary restraining. I was like, "What's this for?" Like we had a very amicable. There's never anything like this. It was really weird. I was kind of insulted. But then my attorney, he was like, "No, this is." I was like, "Okay." So weird.
It's so silly.
I probably had one on my first one too. I didn't know.
Didn't read it, didn't look at it.
I was just ready to get out of that one as quick as possible.
They're not. People don't take them very seriously here in the state of Texas. Anything that with a little TRO in front of it.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It means basically nothing. To be honest with you,
Right.
Protective order is more serious, but charges don't have to be filed for protective order. They just need to make a case to a judge that they need it.
Yeah.
And
And it's as simple as that.
They'll give it to them.
If you go tell the judge a really good story, because the other person doesn't have to be there.
Well, the judge ain't going to err on the side, I think you're bullshitting.
Right, exactly.
So, hey, we'll just give it to you just in case.
Exactly. It's just so much easier. It saves headaches. They're great.
They're a headache for police officers, too, because they always go back and forth. One will get a protective order, or a man will get a protective order, and then within a week, they suddenly feel better about the situation, and then they invite him over because they want to talk. And then all of a sudden, if we show up for some reason, well, now they're going to jail automatically because that protective order is in place. And then they're saying, she invited me over. It's like, bro, when you got that protective order served,
doesn't matter.
You should have told her no.
Yep.
That I can't. And I'm not, we'll talk on the phone. And a lot of them were like, you can't even talk on the phone.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, exactly. There's no, even electronic digital communication is nothing.
It's pretty strict on the protective order.
Yeah.
But you're right. There's a lot of, on those, Yes, there's a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
100%.
And then it was I may have to pull it up on sexual assault allegations nationwide. It was right at 20%.
False.
12. Yeah, I'm sorry. Rape itself was 2% to 12%, varied state by state. They wouldn't give a national average. Does that make sense?
It's a hard one to.
Yeah. And now that's reported rape cases. So we're not talking unreported, because it's unreported. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
They don't even know what the proper unreported number is.
Right. So you can't put it in there. Does that make sense? So you don't know. And there's all these estimations of how many rapes go unreported.
A lot of speculation. It's
speculation.
very difficult
You can't. So of claimed rapes, 2 to 12% state by state are considered false and go away. Now, sexual misconduct or sexual assault or anything other than rape itself, it was as high as 20%. I think that was like 11, just over 10% to right at 20% was considered fake or false of allegations. And of all of that, about 10% of all sexual assault, rape, or whatever allegations, it was like 90-something% more women and a few percent more men.
Yeah, which makes sense.
As far as all, not false or true false, just all reports.
Yeah,
nationwide on that one.
Yeah, it's so with the whole thing with Justice Kavanaugh.
Yeah, Justice
Kavanaugh now, which is I'm very happy to hear that for a lot of reasons. Yeah. But it's a fact that there are false accusations.
Yes.
It's a fact, and everybody knows there's cases of it. There's famous cases that have existed, and to say that because someone makes an accusation, it's automatically whatever they said is true. It's not true. That's not how it works.
That's insane.
It is insane. It's very scary. We should not want our society to collapse into a situation where a special victim group gets to make a claim and it's just automatically believed. Like, you don't want that. Nobody wants that. That
is hyper scary. Hyper scary.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what a lot of these social justice warrior really. It's not even just that. It turned into a political action.
Yeah. For
lack of a better term, to attempt to prevent a justice from taking the seat on the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
And it was scary to watch. It really upset. It upset me in the sense of not like. Personally, it just upset me to see people just throw normal processes for judging something to be true or not and giving people the proper understanding the total circumstances around the situation, because there was political circumstances involved in this. And to people to act like this was in a vacuum, like his accusation was in a vacuum, is insane.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't. It was and I told you this from the beginning. I told you when this first came out, and I thought she was lying. I was like, I don't think she's telling the truth.
Right.
And I'll be honest with you, I stand by that. I don't think she's credible. People were saying she's compelling. I don't even think she was that compelling.
Right.
To be honest with you, I've not seen that many, but I've seen actual victims, and they're extremely compelling. Like when you've seen an actual victim tell their story, it's extremely compelling.
Yes.
And there's no gaps. There's no gaps like were in her story. Like that you don't. I've seen people recount something old that happened to them when they were 6.
Right.
And they're they're young adults, and there's no gaps. They remember every detail specifically, including locations.
Yeah.
And they're 6. They're 6.
Exactly.
So I didn't find her story. I didn't find her credible, and I knew there was problems with it. And I thought actually the woman the woman prosecutor did a very good job. You did not see. I think people did not understand how good a job she was doing with picking her story apart till afterwards. Because if that was a trial setting, then she would at the closing be able to bring out all those things that she said and then point out where she actually lied.
Right.
Because she did lie.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be pushed. It's not going to be pursued because she's looked at as a victim. But she lied.
Yeah.
And they would nail her. They would destroy her credibility in a courtroom.
In a courtroom, she'd be
And let me tell you right now, Justice Kavanaugh's credibility was without question. Mm-hmm. He had a calendar that he had wrote that had his whole month covered. That's rare, and that's gold to a defense attorney. I'm like, oh my God. That's almost like having your whole month on GoPro. It's like you are completely accounted for it all.
It's insane. And so without getting into the super specifics of the case, because that'll polarize people. Because, but he said he didn't drink, but he did, and somebody said he did.
He never even said that. Like, they really upset me. Who cares if he drinks?
So when you get into the semantics of it, you're going to lose everybody.
Yeah.
Because then they're all pissed off and,
yeah.
and all of that kind of stuff. But with false allegations, you ruin people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, you ruin their lives. In this situation, I was saying, there's some speculation in this, but I was saying whatever Dr. Ford got paid wasn't enough. Because her life is fucked now.
I disagree.
You think she's all right?
I disagree. She's now going to be a champion of the left. She's going to be a champion of the left. You watch.
Let's see.
She's going to be.
Possibly.
Possibly. They used her. Make no mistake. The Democrats used her. The Democratic Party used her. Those attorneys actually may have a problem because looks like they violated some ethics laws by not. Well, according to Dr. Ford, they didn't tell her certain things, and that's what she's saying.
That's a problem.
Now that could have been her lying on the stand. Because she did lie. She lied about not helping someone with a polygraph. We know that for a fact. There's actually an attempt at witness tampering by one of her friends.
Yeah.
Who's a former FBI agent, by the way, who tried to get one of her friends to change her story. Mm-hmm. She's backed off and said, no, that's not what I said. I said, no, that's what you said. If you attempt to get someone to change their statement to authorities in any way, you're basic. There's more to it, but if you're coaching them in any way, you're kind of tampering with the witness.
Yeah.
Which is a felony. So she I forgot where I was going with it. But basically,
so she was used. But
she was definitely used.
Yeah.
But I do think in this hashtag Me Too era that we're in, she'll be used as a champion. I think in her college career, her collegiate career is going to go up. She's going to get asked to teach more classes, whatever. However, as a professor, you can be promoted up. I know with tenure, and I think she's going to be championed.
If she winds up getting all that, then I guess maybe she got enough.
The only thing that I think might happen, and I don't think it'll happen because the Democrats have to admit that what they were doing, is if they throw her under the bus completely and say, oh, she lied about all this stuff and we didn't know. And I don't think they're going to do that. No. So that's why I think she's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Because I think, it's you said it because I was reading something from Sam Harris, a tweet he said. Of course, Sam Harris is more of a liberal, and so he was actually against Kavanaugh, which I was surprised. But or at least in this tweet he was. He said, one party had everything to lose by telling the truth and nothing to gain. One party had everything to gain by lying and nothing to lose. And I go, first of all, that's a very oversimplistic way of breaking this down. Second of all, it's not accurate.
Right.
Now, Justice Kavanaugh, you're making a false assumption that he's lying by making that statement. It's very unfair.
Right.
But number two, she had something to gain. She has notoriety to gain. She can become a champion of the Me Too movement. She can become influential, write a book about her story, make financial gains from this. She has a lot to gain.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I believe. So she has a great deal to gain. He almost had his life ruined.
Yeah. And it's not over. He's still going to get the threats. He's still going to get all the...
he'll be fine.
Yeah.
He'll get the protection. Now he's a justice, so he has the protection of the... Yeah. It's sad that he's going to probably have to have Secret Service protection for a long time. But him and his family.
That's
that being said, excuse me, he's fine. If he did not get confirmed, like he was done. No more teaching.
Yeah,
because Harvard already removed him.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, like from an allegation, moved him. The Bar Association was going to revisit it. I think they still are revisiting his rating off of allegations that are not only unsubstantiated, but there's evidence to the contrary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
It's
frustrating. Frustrates the hell out of me.
Let me tell you how wrong people can be. So let's just take the avenue of, and we'll use her just as an easy case to use
because it's current.
It's relevant. Everybody's pretty informed about it. So we'll take her situation. So it was 36 years ago, but she says she remembers very clearly that was Brett and his buddy. She misses some details, but she remembers the kind of details of the actual incident pretty well.
Right.
She's completely sure about it, right? So there's a case, and this is something when I was going through a eyewitness identification some training school, actually. They brought up this case to highlight how unreliable eyewitness testimony is, including from the victim, and almost particularly from the victim. Yeah. There's this one situation where this woman was sexually assaulted, and the way it happened was the guy broke into her house, held her down on the bed, and so she's telling the story. She says she remembers specifically thinking, I have no choice here. My best bet is to look him in the face, memorize every aspect of him, his voice, his smell, everything, so that when I tell the police, I can give them an extremely accurate description of him, and they have the best chance of catching him. Right. She made that conscious decision while she's being sexually assaulted. So that's amazing, right? That's a form of courage that's pretty freaking strong. So that was amazing. Yeah. She does this. The guy rapes her, ends up leaving. She remembers every detail. She reports it to the police, tells them everything in specific detail. Well, they end up catching a guy, matches the description. They do the whole 9 with her. She identifies him with 100% certainty. Mm-hmm. And even the detectives are talking about it, during this, when they're breaking this down. She was 100% certain. She's no doubt in her mind. She's telling us 0 doubt in her mind. So this guy gets convicted. And then about some time later, probably like 10, 12 years later, DNA evidence starts to get better at analyzing it. Yeah. And they still have DNA evidence from when that happened. And suddenly this guy's profile pops up as possibly a match on hers. I don't know if it was an Innocence Project that found it. It might have been one of the Innocence Project stuff that was out there. They find it anyway. They get his DNA tested, and it's not a match for the DNA that was in her. Then they get the DNA test done with this other guy. It is a match, and of course, if you look at the guy, they look very similar. Yeah. They have very similar features, which is common. There's a lot of people with similar features. A lot. Especially in a very stressful situation. Your brain does weird things.
And probably not the best light, and probably scary situation.
Exactly. And your brain doesn't. But she had already decided that this was the guy. They went so far as to pull that guy into court. And I can't remember the exact situation. She did not identify that guy. She said, that's not him. No, it's the other guy. Wow. The guy who actually sexually assaulted her, she's looking at in a courtroom, and she says, it's not him. She was so sold it was the other guy. And anyway, eventually all the DNA evidence comes through, and then they have to make he gets released. The guy who was accused gets released. That guy ends up getting convicted of that, but he'd already been convicted of a bunch of sexual assaults because he was a serial rapist. And she's telling you to this day, it's not him. It's the guy that was released. Now, she acknowledges she fucked up. She says, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. I know I'm wrong. But in my mind, it's still that guy. Oh, in my mind, it is that guy. Yeah. Because that's what she sees. It got imprinted. Yeah. So I'm just telling you, that's someone who was literally sexually assaulted.
And this was probably within 18 months.
Yeah.
That she was identifying him and all these other things.
This was very quickly after she identified the guy, and then it was just many years later this other guy pops up. So that's how wrong people can be, and it's like people just assume if you see something your brain does weird stuff, especially under high stress. Oh yeah, and you don't see things as they are. You really don't. Sometimes you do, and it's hard for us because we really realize, police officers, we really rely on eyewitness testimony. It's a big deal. Like, it's really helpful if someone, we use that to convict people. We use that to charge people all the time. You have to be able to rely on it, but you have to also understand the fault within eyewitness testimony, how wrong it can be. That's why you got to do you need that corroborating evidence. To secure it, to say, okay, we know for sure this has happened because here's the other stuff. And for people to say that sexual assaults, there's never corroborating, that's not true. That's not true. There's physical evidence.
Almost always there's something.
There's physical evidence. There's time, place. There's stuff that corroborates it. And here's the thing about that particular situation with Justice Kavanaugh. Everything that she said was corroborating her story did not corroborate her story.
Right.
It was the opposite. It was the opposite. It actually cast doubt on her story.
Exactly.
Everyone, and I've heard some people say there was witnesses that weren't interviewed. No, everybody that was brought up, there's no outcry. There was no outcry witness. There was none. And to say your 2012 thing with your therapist, that was as close to an outcry as possible. But even that, this question that she won't release those the notes. She won't allow those to be released. You know, and then her former boyfriend came out and said, like, everything has come out against her. Their former boyfriend said, first of all, she helped so and so, this Mary McLean or whatever, with polygraph because she was testing with the DOJ and the FBI. By the way, this is also the same person that tried to get someone else to change their statement. Yeah. And she never had a problem with claustrophobia, with flying. She never needed double doors. We lived together for 6 years. She never brought any of these things up. You know, what I'm saying is, this is what I'm saying. I'm not saying something didn't happen to her, because I don't know. I haven't lived with her every day of her life. Right. What I'm saying is, as a police officer, she's not credible. She is not a credible person. I would have major problems with her story. Yeah. Right? I would never take a case against Justice Kavanaugh based on what she presented. Exactly. I could never do it. I would lean towards, not just lean towards, I would feel like I do in this case, Justice Kavanaugh didn't do anything. Right. And she's either making up the story or something's wrong and she's really misremembering something. Yeah. That's how my take on it.
And that's my thing with it, is with her specifically, and even some of these other ones that are false allegations. I'm not saying nothing happened. I'm saying that they are not remembering it correctly.
Right.
Or they're totally making it up, which could also be the case.
There's been a case to that. There was that football player. I can't remember the name of that football player where a young lady claimed she raped him. He was I think he was a collegiate or high school senior or college freshman. Yeah. Went to jail for like 10 years before she finally admitted through text messaging, I made all that shit up. And then they caught the text messages and released him. I don't know if they charged her. But the damage done to his life is irreparable because he had a promising future as a football player. That's gone. Not to mention the trauma he experienced in prison.
That's just
and years lost.
Shit. That's a big one.
And I mean,
so big.
So it's not common. I'm not saying it's common. It's uncommon, very uncommon. But and I think that the flat out false accusations are very uncommon. But I think that the not remembering things accurately, those kinds of things are much more common than people.
I'll say it this way. Let's call it 10%. Okay, let's take the lower end of the average of the two that overlap. Okay, 10% of all allegations and accusations with a combination of rape and sexual assault. So rape and non-rape sexual assault. 10% are false by the definition we said earlier. Okay, tell me in this world, in this country, if 10% of the people that drank Red Bull went into a coma, we cool with that?
Be devastated.
If 10% of the cars we got in blew up, cool with it? Or lost control?
No, of course not.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no.
10%?
It's a big no. It's a big jump. It's a big number.
You're like, 10% is cool. It works itself out. And a lot of them do. Because a lot of the false allegations wind up, they don't go to court, or they get solved beforehand, or it never comes around. They don't go to jail. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes it doesn't. Those stats, you can't find those, right? So you just find out what's false, and then false means this. So if around 10% of accusations are bullshit, why are we being hush-hush on this? And I don't
think we were till recently.
I think, it's getting to be more and more. The Duke thing years ago kind of started. That was really sort of the start of that.
You go back to Al Sharpton and what was her name?
I went blank on her name, but you said,
but she claimed the police officers raped her, did all this stuff to her. Tawana Brawley case. And that, I mean, it's happened. But if you look at some of these, there's motivations in there's obviously motivations in. I think with this particular one, and I don't think she's credible, and I do think she was trying to make political gain with this. That's my belief. It doesn't mean it's true. Yeah. It's just my belief she's trying to make political gain with this. She shopped her story to the New Washington Post. I mean, there's little things in there which, in my mind, raise huge red flags before we even to the big ones we know now. And the way it was all done. And then, anyway, you know, I think that again, I forget I was going with that, but like the credibility factor with these things, it's there. People will lie for political gain. They'll lie for if there's some gain from it.
Yeah,
there is
revenge, vengeance.
Right.
I mean,
attacking a perceived enemy.
Yeah.
You know, for the greater good.
Yeah.
You know, like police officers. Oh, police officers are terrible. Like Toronto, probably. Police officers are terrible. Got Al Sharpton telling you to go run with it. You're getting all this attention for it. Let's not forget the attention factor.
That's true.
And people love attention.
Yeah.
Look at her. She got to testify before Congress.
The world watched her.
The world has stopped on her every word.
Yeah.
And his, but I mean, he didn't ask for that.
No, he didn't ask for that.
He didn't ask for that, but she, in a way, did.
So is there a world that could exist that doesn't allow for that to happen? Because so many people that I find in this, so many people are afraid to speak up and say, you know what, she was full of shit, because they get attacked. They get attacked ruthlessly. Right? Yeah. Does that make sense?
I'm nobody, though. I can say it and people don't give a shit.
Well, yeah, you know. But
yeah, you're
still,
right.
You know, larger
people are
council,
very careful. I've heard everybody's so careful. So careful. And it kind of bummed. It really bothered me. I'm like, guys, like when we see bullshit, let's call it out. We're so fearful of being labeled.
And so many, but then you instantly, you get hit with the mob saying, well, now other women that had this happen aren't going to come forward. All right. No, let them come forward. If somebody did some shit, let's feed them to the fucking wolves. Mm-hmm. You know, in essence, you know what I'm saying? But
yeah, absolutely.
I'm not going to discredit anyone's claim until I have a reason to do so. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So like with Dr. Ford saying, I'm like, seems like bullshit, seems political, let's figure it out. And every time a little bit more came out, I'm like, seems a little more political, seems a little more full of shit, let's see more. All right. Okay, clearly this is nonsense.
Yeah, that's what I felt.
I feel
it's nonsense. I feel the whole thing. And but you know, there's this, and I have friends who are on the other side of this and think that Justice Kavanaugh is evil incarnate all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And even though his whole life he's never. So first of all, another thing, you've had this, and I only know you, maybe a couple other people I know have had the FBI background investigation. Mm-hmm. I've had it for top secret clearance. So have you. They crawl up your ass with a microscope, and I've only had one. I grew up half my life in Germany.
Yeah.
They sent people to Germany. They spoke to my neighbors. They spoke to my high school teachers. They spoke to my high school friends. Mm-hmm. They spoke to people I worked with in jobs I didn't even knew I had. They spoke to everybody who knew me that they could talk to.
Almost everybody.
They crawled up my ass with the microscope, and I was just getting a top secret clearance in the Air Force as a young airman.
Yeah.
Justice Kavanaugh has had 6 of these done. He's had 6 FBI colonoscopies, basically.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes,
6 of them.
6.
And from very high, those positions are high. Like they're under the Bush administration.
Yeah.
These are very sensitive positions he's worked in.
Yeah.
Guys, like this would have popped up. Like I'm telling you, this would have popped up. Like the whole thing, the crazy drinking parties, exposing yourself at college frat parties. Like they really pushed the frat boy image, and they started that at the beginning. By the way, I think people forget they were trying to push this frat boy image on him from the jump,
and it didn't stick.
And it wasn't sticking. But then all of a sudden, they brought this, and then all the points where they were bringing he was a serial gang rapist. I mean, it got so ridiculous. But guys, I don't know how to explain how it's very detailed. It's not a criminal investigation. People get confused when they hear that. It's not a criminal investigation because they're not investigating for a crime. No. They're scrubbing your background. They're finding out if there's any tendencies. They want to know all your little habits, the type of people you're hanging out with. If you're doing things like that, there's a good chance it's going to pop up, and the person who nominated you or had that.
It will almost always pop up.
Yes, it's going to come out, and especially 6 of them. It's gonna happen, and he's had 6 of these things, really 6 and a half at this point.
And that's what I'm saying is that, so you get into this. So here we go. You get the allegations, right? Kavanaugh gets the allegations. Anybody, take any male gets falsely accused of sexual assault in some shape, form, or fashion. And he comes out and aggressively denies those accusations. Mm-hmm. Well, now he's more likely to be guilty because he was aggressively denying the accusations.
Isn't that weird? It's
but
like
if he comes out,
right?
But if he comes out and is passive about it and is very, very zen, very this, and it just didn't happen, and it's just, well, now he's clearly hiding something because he's not even emotional about this.
Yeah,
you can't. There's no winning with it.
Well, it was. If he had done the zen thing, well, if I was falsely accused of something, I'd be losing my shit.
Yeah.
Right. Look, I thought his reaction was very measured, and yeah, he let out some anger. I thought he had a right to, because if you look at what is happening, those people were doing that. And I think he called them out on stuff. And of course, the problem is the media doesn't want to, they had their sides that they were taking.
Right.
So they weren't going to portray anything that was not within their viewpoint that they're pushing. So he called out a couple of them. I think Feinstein the most. I thought he wrecked her.
Yeah.
Because when she was, well, you need to answer questions with the, it's like, Senator, I am right here. You can ask me any question you want. And the truth is this: she has more authority to ask him questions than the FBI does, because he's under the rules of the Senate. However they do it when they pull you in like that. That's stronger than when the FBI is questioning you. That he was like, I am in front of you now. Whatever. Well, no, we need an FBI. No, it's no different.
It's so silly. An FBI investigation is far less than what the Senate can do.
Yes. The Senate has more power in that situation.
Now, the FBI does have the ability to go further, faster, and talk to more people. But
which is what they did.
But
again, they had him right there. It's like, I'm right here.
Ask me whatever you want.
Whatever questions are on your mind, ask me. She didn't want to engage with him. And I saw it showed what a coward she was too, because she really backed away from the mic. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I'll pass. I thought you were a coward. Like, you are such a coward. You're gonna go talk in front of the press now very strongly about what a bad person this guy is. He's in front of you saying, ask me on national the world is watching.
Yeah.
I'm under penalty of perjury. Ask me any question you want right now. Anything.
She didn't.
She passed. She asked him about the sex, the gang rape. Actually, he brought that up. He says that's a farce, which I thought I loved what he said. And do you want to comment on that further? No, because there was nothing to comment on, right? And but it's like, you what? You had all this time to prepare for this hearing, right? Because y'all delayed this as long as you could.
Yep.
You could have prepped. You could have had an attorney. Of course, you're an attorney yourself. You could have had an attorney or prosecutor prep you how to properly ask these questions.
Yeah.
The Democrats could have gotten their own prosecutor to prosecute him in that trial. They could have done that. Did they do it?
Nope.
No.
Well, they wanted to grandstand.
They wanted to delay this and hope to God that he didn't get nominated before the. The best part about this is the Democrats are going to rue this so bad, because they're going to lose a couple seats in this midterm election in the Senate.
I think so.
It looks very strong. Yeah. It's looking very strong. They're going to. I bet you. If I remember, I looked. There's 2 seats. I think the Republicans are going to gain 2 seats.
If that happens,
it's a huge blowback.
They are going to lose.
They were counting on
turning
the Senate.
Yeah.
It was 50-50 they turned the Senate. It was leaning towards them, right? And then this thing, I think they're going to lose 2 seats. I think they're going to lose 2 seats.
Do you think there's because this is one of the things I'm talking to people. Do you think there's ever a time in our near future or far future that our political system will correct enough that shit will get done? Because you got to remember, is 2 justices ago, right, and all forward, they were getting 90 votes.
Yeah, well, and that was under Obama, right?
And highly contested.
But that was under Obama. Yeah. But even before that, right? With Bush and all that. And it was, you'd have to go back to Bork. That's the last time that this kind of action was done.
And he got I think he got 90.
Bork was.
Or did he just?
He had to withdraw his nomination.
No. Of all the ones that are confirmed, sorry.
Of all the ones that are confirmed, it's been.
I think the worst was like a 91 or something.
Yeah, they were all high, because once they advised the consent, okay, we're done, and he's passed the committee, he's accepted, right?
Yeah.
Will we go back to more less contested political discourse, or less. What's the word I'm looking for?
Either way, just less tribalistic, less contested.
Tribalistic is a good word. I'm thinking of like more of a vulgar term, but because I feel like our politics have gotten vulgar.
It's nasty. It's literally whatever they say. Even if they read me what I wrote, I'm going to disagree with it.
You know, so I was listening to somebody talk about our current political situation, and it's going to go one of two ways. It's just going to rebound like things always do, and we'll become more civil in the future. You know, we're having an extreme moment politically in our country, and we'll come back, be more civil for a while. It'll maybe swing back again, right? Some people believing that with the current, just the time period that we're living in, and the change that's happening with our young people, and now we're talking whatever we call after millennials, whatever's coming up, the
Z generation or whatever they call it, something like that.
I think it's Generation Z, right?
Yeah.
People born after 95.
Yeah.
You know, this is a potential big problem. We may have a generation that is very far left, and not just far left, but they're living under. So recently, there's this thing that's being pushed that public speaking needs to be taken out of schools, because it makes kids uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that's a broader context. We're taking things out of school that make people feel uncomfortable. So there's this feeling that if it makes you feel uncomfortable, it's bad, and you should not be. No one should ever be made to feel uncomfortable. Well, this is not a good sign for us.
It's not life.
No, it's not. But the thing that's going to happen is it's going to bleed into all areas of life, of society, and it could be the dissolution of our country, is what it could end up being. And I know that sounds extreme.
It's an extreme statement, but there's a lot of truth to it. Now, you're not saying this is going to happen next month in a month
maybe
or whatever,
within the next
but
50 years,
right?
Within the next generation, like it could be the end.
Yeah.
And there's very smart people that think that. So, I'm no political scientist, or a sociologist, or whatever term you would to combine all those things together, because there's lots of terms, but there's a lot of really smart people who are those things, and who examine these things in detail, and they think that we are turning that corner to where it's not. And I think I said this a long time ago. I remember you kind of looked at me, because I do feel this way, that we turned a corner a few years back in our country where we're on the downhill. Yes, right now in this moment, things are going very well economically, but you know how economics goes. It's up and down. It's up and down.
That's not a good.
It's always temporary.
Right.
It may last for maybe it lasts for 5, 6, 7 years.
Who knows?
They're talking about it being a long-term thing right now, but it's going to come back. And I do think our country, I really do believe that we're on the downturn. I think within the next generation or two, we don't exist as a country the way we are now. It's not going to.
I firmly believe that it started during Clinton's era. The Monica Lewinsky thing is, I think, some people will say it started before that, but I think that was the straw that broke it. And then now it's just continuously bleeding out and getting worse. But that was a very pivotal point.
And I don't know what about it. I think you're right about the time period. I don't know what about it caused that, but I noticed it with when George Bush was elected. Remember that election with Gore? That was another super tight with the courts deciding it. And I think the left never let go of that either. Yeah. It's funny about the Bill Clinton thing too, is that now Democrats they're actually starting to say, well, maybe we should have. Bitch, it is too late to say maybe we should have on Bill Clinton, because that dude was legitimately accused of sexual assault. Somebody's outcried immediately, had physical signs of abuse. Yeah. There was no question something happened to her. Man, she was pushed under the rug by the left. They threw her under the bus.
And he had, and I'm not trying to bring his whole thing, but he had multiple allegations over long periods of time. It
well before he was president.
Yeah, it never went away. It never went away.
And look, that left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths on the right. And there was something about that time period with Clinton that things started kind of going downhill. And then I guess when George Bush was elected, you saw like this. I never understood this hatred for him that I saw from the left. Yeah, like I didn't understand it. I thought, I guess it's because of the tight election with Gore, but there was a hatred, he'd be accused of being evil. That's when you start seeing him pop up in Hollywood, you know. And I was like, well, like,
the
why?
Michael Moore films and all this stuff.
Yeah,
I'm like,
and I
wait
was
a
thinking,
second.
hold on, man. Like, this guy, like, even today I hear he's a decent man. Like, he's a legitimately
awesome.
decent man.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, you know, you get to that level in politics, I don't know what you've done to get there. So I without me knowing someone personally, I don't want to just saint them. But all my intuition tells me that he is a decent man, and he did things for the better of our country, and he legitimately is a good person. And I never understood the hate for him because he wasn't an extreme right.
He just had an R next to his name, man.
That's all it was, and he wasn't even a super conservative guy. He was conservative religiously,
Yeah,
but really socially and stuff. He spent a lot of money on social programs, and he was not a far right president.
Right.
Trump rules way more to the right than George W. Bush ever did. You know,
but that was
there's something about that time period, and it's like
so close, and then it beat John Kerry by a narrow margin.
But he beat him. Like, it was not a question.
It wasn't a question, but it was still close.
It was tight. There was like at the beginning you didn't know. It kind of looked like Kerry might be winning that thing, and then it turned about halfway through it.
He was until O'Neill's book with the Swift boats came out, and then that.
But like halfway through the actual election day.
Oh yeah,
Kerry was leading.
Yeah,
like Kerry thought he was going to be president
for
a little while, and then all of a sudden you got to learn to wait, man. You got to let those Midwesterners get their votes in before you just start counting off the ballots. You got to let those votes come in, man.
Yeah, dude, we're so politically divided. It's ridiculous.
You know what's funny though? If you look at a map, our political division is so funny because you see it. You see the blue in very small portions of the country.
Yeah,
It's just the super heavily populated West Coast, East Coast areas. And then pretty much every place else is red.
Yeah.
With some small exceptions here and there. Pretty much every place else is red. And that just seems so bizarre to me.
It's weird. It's almost like the more densely populated it is, the higher propensity of it being liberal.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
and you know what? And that's the argument for the electoral map, too, by the way. Because you don't want... That was the founders' argument.
Yeah.
You didn't want people in population centers dictating who was representing everybody, that even the people living in farm, because of course farming back then was a much more bigger deal, living in more isolated areas. That was the whole point of that, was to give those people that live out here in the middle of nowhere or much smaller population, some type of representation equal to, or their vote being as valuable as
somebody in densely
populated areas. It was genius. It was literally genius, because I don't know if they could foresee that our country would become as large as it did. But it was genius because it really does protect against mob rule and politically. It really protects against it.
Which is insane. And that people are talking about trying to get rid of it.
Because I don't think they just think of us as a pure democracy, which we're not.
No.
We weren't set up that way. No. And if you change us, you're changing the nature. You're causing us to fall down that rabbit hole, fall down that same slippery slope that you see other democracies go down and fail, which is that one vote. It doesn't work. Right. You have to have a representation. It has to be representative. It protects from mob rule. It really does, because otherwise it's mob rule. If you go straight one vote for one thing, whoever gets the mob together is gonna run things.
Then it's all that's the whole thing,
and then it goes downhill.
Yeah,
fast.
Which is where we're in the pickle we are now. Is because Trump lost the popular vote, but won the electoral vote,
and that was Hillary's fault.
Their mind.
That's Hillary's fault.
Well,
she knows the rules. I love when the people that bring that up. Well, she knows the rules.
She knows the rules better than him.
She's been playing that game a lot longer, and she knew where she needed to get votes from. You know how the game is played, and you didn't play the game right, and you lost. That's the way it is.
They got toasted. So I tend to believe that we're done. That there's going to have to be a third party. There's going to have to be a major revamping. There's going to have to be some global atrocity of some shape, form, or fashion for us to get corrected in
as far as staying together as a country.
Otherwise,
I don't think it's going to happen unless, global catastrophe. Could
something's got to bring us
aliens
together.
arriving from outer space.
Yeah,
we forget about some of our stupid little divisions.
But seriously, like something like holy shit,
Jurassic Park comes to life.
See, that would be nice.
That'd be kind of
crazy.
Could
start out in the
Chris Pratt areas. Running around with his shirt half undone, chasing. Has his Velociraptor freaking pet running around.
Well, then if the aliens come, we could do that with his Star-Lord stuff, and then he's good to go, man.
Star-Lord. I love that dude, but we're watching the fights, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're enjoying the fights, and then they show there's Rory McDonald. Not Rory McDonald. There's a golfer. I can't think of his name. Fucking some famous golfer.
Yeah, I didn't see that part.
And
when
they showed him, and they're like, "Hey, look, it's." I'm like, "Who the fuck was that guy?" I felt like Conor McGregor. Who the fuck is that guy? And they're like, IPGA so and so champion. Yeah. And I was like, "Oh, I recognize the name."
You're like, okay.
I would never recognize a guy in a crowd. Of course, he probably makes more money than almost anybody there.
By far.
He's probably got the hottest wife too. Those golfers got smoking hot wives. But anyway, and then they cut to Chris Pratt, and immediately the girls are like, oh, "It's Chris Pratt! It's Chris Pratt!" And I was like,
"It's like he's just." And he acts like a total idiot on this.
Please calm down. I love Chris Pratt. I think he's a cool dude, but I was like, calm down, ladies. And my buddy Ronnie was like, calm down, Jesus Christ. They're like, oh, y'all were all excited about Karate Hottie. I was like, no, we weren't. We were making fun of her forehead because she had her hair up, and it like
see that weird.
It was
ridge?
Like she did the Muay Thai thing. It was way up here, and I was like, man, we were like, she's got a giant forehead. That's what I was thinking, honestly. But they see Chris Pratt, and
fucking Chris Pratt.
Man, but it pisses me off more because I really like him. Like, I'm like, man, this guy's a cool dude. Like, I like his Instagram and stuff. I'm like, he goes live and stuff too.
Yeah, no, he's funny.
Hey guys, so he's really cool about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this dude seems too cool, man. There's got to be something wrong with this guy.
Well, there's definitely something wrong with him, but he's still funny, still cool.
He's a cool dude.
Those guys, also, most of the guys and gals out in Hollywood, to take that on, you've got to have something not quite right in your head. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard Joe Rogan talking, and I do remember seeing this, that, Chris Pratt wrestled in high school and college. And
I didn't know that.
There's a video of him wrestling with one of the Nogueira brothers, or both of them.
Oh, no shit.
And like legit wrestling. Like they're going
wow,
at it.
Okay.
They say, Chris Pratt's got some wrestling skills, like legit wrestling skills, yeah. Which makes sense, because, when you think about like how he got physically fit real fast, like, he's pudgy for a while.
Yeah.
Like he did Wanted. He was like real heavy in Wanted. And then when he did, he was doing Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
He was a pudgy guy. I never thought of him as an athletic guy. And then all of a sudden he comes out in Guardians of the Galaxy jacked.
And you're like,
but if he was a wrestler through high school and college, it makes sense. Like, he's already got it.
Yeah.
He just had to burn off the fat.
Play with he just
he already knows how to work out and train. Like, it probably was nothing for him to just, you mean you can get shape, be an action star? Give me a couple months.
Like, I got it.
Give me 2 months, 3 months. I'll be right there.
I'm excited. Daredevil's coming out soon. I was pissed as shit about
Netflix?
the whole on Netflix. Yeah.
Man, I'm unhappy with the Daredevil so far.
Really?
Are you talking? Is it the Daredevil? Is it gonna be like Daredevil season 3?
Yeah.
See, he's such a pussy.
But that's why I'm excited about this one, is because I think that whole death thing at the end of the Defenders.
I didn't even watch Defenders because I've been very disappointed. And the only one I've liked has been Luke Cage.
Luke Cage
and the Punisher. The Punisher was really good.
Yeah.
And I like Luke Cage. I was very
Iron
disappointed.
Fist is dumb as shit. I didn't even watch the rest
Iron
of this
Fist
one.
is just ridiculous.
Yeah. And that was my favorite.
That could have been a really good one. Iron Fist is really super disappointing. I didn't like I thought the first season Daredevil was going pretty good. It was okay. The second season, he just was too big a pussy, man. It was just driving me nuts. Yeah. Punisher was amazing. I loved the Punisher. And I love Luke Cage. I really like Luke Cage. I like those era style.
The first Jessica Jones, I enjoyed that one.
First one was pretty good. Yeah. I think
the second one was.
Yeah, I think I lost interest in the second one.
Yeah, they got weird with the story.
I've lost so much interest in it that I didn't watch Defenders. I was like, man, I just don't think I can watch it. So, and there's so much other cool shit on Netflix.
Yeah, I know. That's
to
the
watch.
hard part,
And then my biggest one I'm on right now is on Amazon Prime, Man in the High Castle.
Oh, I get the ad or the.
So you haven't seen it.
No,
let me set this up for you because you'll like this because you're a nerd like me, but you're a smart nerd. I'm a dumb nerd. You're a smart.
Entertainment's
nerd.
entertainment. Damn
so, it. but some stuff appeals to different people, right? And you're kind of like me in this, so I know you'll enjoy it because I know I have a lot of friends that'll zone out on this. But it's a alternate history style. It's based on the book Man in the High Castle. Mm-hmm. Which is about basically if the Nazis and the Japanese, if the Axis powers had won.
Yeah.
Right. Now in the In the series, it's pretty much isolated to the United States. I think in the book it goes more widespread about, with Italy and Japan. There's a lot of stuff. But basically, the Soviet Union. I'm sorry, the Japanese and the Nazi, the Reich, have split up the United States, right? And the dividing line is the Rockies.
Okay.
So the Japanese makes sense. Japanese have the Pacific States. They call it the Pacific States. The Third Reich they call it I forget what they call it, but they basically some version of the Reich in the East Coast. And so they're locked in a Cold War. And there's and it's in 1962. It's the time period.
Okay.
So it's super fascinating to see what would happen. Like what would have been the happening. There's this extermination policy on Jews. Most Jews are gone. Now, if you live in the Reich territories, there are no. If you're caught, you're immediately toast. Yeah. In the Pacific States, it's kind of ignored.
Okay.
Like the Japanese will use it to terminate someone if they want to, but they kind of they have better things to do.
Unless you
they have better things to do than to hunt down Jewish people.
Yeah.
But what I do like about it, if you know anything, and I know you do, but like if somebody knows anything about World War II history, and I'm not going to call myself a World War II history buff, but I've definitely read a lot of books on World War II history because it's really fascinating war, and it affects us so much now. The Japanese during that time frame had which makes it funny that they were Axis powers with Germany. Yeah. It actually makes sense. They also had a feeling that they were a superior race. The Japanese felt they were a superior race to all other races. The way that the Reich felt the Aryan race is a superior race to all other races. Right. So it makes sense that they were allies in a way, when you look back at it. But so the same thing is they show that they didn't take that out, which you think they would be too worried about offending sensibilities of other cultures. They did not take that out. They left that in there, that the Japanese felt that they were a superior race.
Yeah. Okay.
And so it's very interesting to see that because they treat Gaijin as less than them, as in less than they're allowed to coexist, but they're less. Like they must bow. They can't talk back. They can't. They get their head chopped off right there.
Damn.
They will not play. They did the mass executions as punishment which the Japanese did. If you look at their history, especially with China, it's very common. They show like all the same traits that those countries exhibited in leading up to World War II and during World War II. They show, and here of course now in this episode, in this alternate history, Germany got the atom bomb first. They nuked. They nuked Washington D.C. That's kind of what ends up winning the war. Yeah. But for them, but then you just see how everything affects. They go in through the Germany so much as Jews are gone. If you have a physical defect, if you're defective and you can't be cured, toast. It's automatic. You have to be. What's the term I can't think of? But euthanized. Yeah. You have to be euthanized. Anything.
Shit. Okay.
Muscular
so
dystrophy. Stuff like that. You have to be euthanized because you are considered. You're weighing down the Reich. You're a burden to the Reich. You're a burden to the people around you. Yeah. So it's your duty to be euthanized.
That's
even if it's your children. There's a scene, and I don't want to spoil it, but someone's child who's a member of the Reich, they figure out he has muscular dystrophy. And he's a pretty high-ranking guy, and he has to make a choice. Like, what am I supposed to do? And he's now having that moral dilemma of, well, this is what I believe, but this is my son. Right. So what's the right thing to do? And it's so weird. What's even weirder about it, there's 3 seasons out now, is you find yourself like getting involved with these characters, and you start, because they develop these characters to the point where you feel sympathy for them in their different situations. And I keep having to snap myself like, oh, he's a fucking Nazi. Yeah. Like he committed atrocities.
That's just good writing. Like that, ago. I love that kind of stuff.
And on the Japanese side too, because they show them doing horrible things, and so you know what they're about. Yeah. But then they suck you in, and they start showing you their personal lives, and you start getting sucked in, and almost feeling sympathy for them. And you feel sympathy for them, and you have to snap yourself back. It's amazing. I love alternate histories and the thoughts of what would have happened, because it could have easily. It could have
so easily.
That war could have ended up. There's like a million different possibilities with the way that war could have ended. I like this one because it's interesting, but dude, I'm telling you, that's my number one. You got, and it's
I'm
long
gonna check,
episodes, 2 hour plus each episode. It's a lot of watching. I think you'll really like it.
Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm in.
all right, man.
Awesome. You got to go.
I do. I got
hurt
trained.
somebody.
I think I'm late.
I think a little bit. I just looked.
I'll be all right.
Well, I got a glare on the. I can see the 6, but then I got a glare on the other.
We're
so
okay.
I'm
We're
like,
okay.
crap.
It's just the warm ups. Since I got, now that I'm black belt, I don't have to do those warm ups anymore.
Oh yeah, you can talk a little. Shit.
I'm a black belt.
Yeah.
No more warm ups. This guy.
So, folks, thank you. Please be sort of nice with the
Bring it.
with the DMs.
I'll just block you if you get crazy.
Yeah, just like give a symbol for every curse word, so it's just less I've got to read. You know what I'm saying? Like in the death threats, just put like a knife or a gun.
You know what?
Like,
I'm all for honest discussions with people. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's when if you have to resort to insults and personal attacks, then you should already know you've lost that argument. You're you've lost.
See, awesome. So, catch him tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll be here with
Me
Ronnie.
later.
We'll be talking Quintet. We're talking Quintet 3.
Oh,
we'll
shit.
talk a little bit about the fights, more of the specific techniques that we saw.
Yeah, I didn't want to get into that today with you, soon.
And I'm sure some other stuff. And we got some other jiu-jitsu stuff to talk about. So maybe Ronnie's getting closer to a decision on what gym he wants to train at. I don't know. I don't have any inside information.
Yeah, no.
I'm just,
my money's on indecisiveness.
I think he wants to stretch it out as much as possible. To get he's getting recruited.
Yeah.
So when you get recruited, your ego
you're the pretty girl on the block.
Like if you're, just like
right?
Man, everybody wants me. So you kind of stretch it out as much as possible. I think that's what he's doing.
He's the cute redheaded girl in Charlie Brown.
I was gonna say he's God dang, what was that movie years ago? But anyway, yeah, we'll go with that. He's the cute redheaded girl in Charlie Brown.
Yeah, so we'll give him a little Charlie Brown shirt next time, man. He can wear
That'd be
that.
great. I want a Charlie Brown rash guard. That'd be pretty sweet.
Oh, shit.
I'm pretty sure there's one out there.
There's got
rash
to be.
guard for everything.
We'll talk to some people.
All right, brother.
So everybody's got to hang out for the outtake because we've got
3, 2. I don't even know how long to count.
Well, I'm looking so right. I know that's me either. I'm just kind of like I don't know.
Well,
it's a little bit of guesswork.
Just don't talk shit till you get outside the house.
Exactly. Thank you, everyone. Peace.
Out.